Jurassic World in 3D. Now, I have been accused and I have admitted several times that I have a tendency to overpraise movies. Occasionally, something does get under my skin, but for the most part, I am looking to have a good time, and I thoroughly believe that having fun is not a passive activity. It's something that both requires effort and is worth the effort. All that to say, once in a while, I come across a 3D conversion that is so good, it leaves me at a bit of a loss for words. As I've pointed out so many goods, greats, fantastic, fun, and delightful other movies, what word is left to describe something that towers above them all and absolutely consumes them? All I can say is that this is a great 3D movie. And where I've said great in the past, well, it's going to have to suffice that this is simply greater. As a 3D conversion, there isn't a bad moment. It's a gold standard, perfect 10 3D conversion roller coaster of a film. And it seems to be intentional. At the onset of the movie, we get a shot of a classic Viewmaster reel that serves no particular purpose. To me, it announces a movie that is intended to be seen in 3D. Although, looking through the marketing material from the time, it gets no particular fanfare. However, later in the year, they would do a 1-week second theater run exclusively in IMAX 3D, which isn't really something that happens anymore, at least for 3D. One thing that really grabbed my attention early on is how rich the jungle is presented in stereo. In a typical 3D movie, you sort of get usually a 2-layer representation of dense trees. You get some branches, leaves, and the gaps are pretty much a curtain. There are shots in this movie where you can zoom in and continue to see minute layers of separation as far into the forest as there is light to see. Check out this fantastic shot of the beast peering through the jungle. The eye is behind several layers of foliage, and yet we still see it with a slight convergent twist. This shot is not possible to get with natively shot 3D because dinosaurs are extinct. Not every shot is a bastion of greatness. There are examples of a team rushing to meet deadline, as with this hasty copy and paste job, and some other, sometimes very crude, rearranging of the background elements. But of course, the real star in the 3D world is lenticular distance, and it is absolutely dino size. The wide stereo view is always in play. A broad view of the massive dinosaurs roaming the fields gets the same stereo push as when the camera is close up on some humans. To that end, I suppose an argument can be made that there's no subtlety here, no attempt at stereo stagecraft. The 3D never means anything apart from screaming that we're here to have fun. Normally, in a good conversion, you just sort of have characters cropped out and depth treated like a bumpy paper doll and layered back in. Now, that's certainly happening here, but they're often taking it a step beyond. Notice how they separate out Rex's leg in this shot, giving him a mountainous feel. And there are other shots where they'll take a limb and give it some special treatment apart from the rest of the shot. Check out how wonderful the reflections are handled in this glass globe. We spend a lot of time with this spherical cart. It makes an appearance in the sequel, and it is the best 3D moment of that sequel. But here, in the first movie, it's just another shining ornament on this stereo Christmas tree. I suppose that glass must be CGI. If nothing else, there's no way they could keep it clean and unscratched. Actually, can they even manufacture a glass bulb that size? And how would it even grip on anything to move? People would just sort of get stuck in there with dinosaurs playing polo with them. Too many questions. This is not a movie you ask questions for. Look at this. What a glorious face. Let's just take a moment and stare at that handsome mug. Not you. Now, when I first saw this shot, I assumed there was a layer of CGI mist giving us a grainy illusion of water depth. But comparing it to the flat version, it seems to have preserved the original droplets. Maybe the water is CGI and they converted the effect in layers, though parts of the fall seem to be converted without consideration to background, and other parts of the fall, like the rocks in the lower left, seem to have been bent at a slightly different angle. There's a lot here that could have been ignored or converted in a one-size-fits-all kind of way, but this movie just always goes the extra mile. Here, they took the time to create an illusion of a mirror in the puddle. It didn't take very many pixels to accomplish it, and by comparing again with the flat version, they achieved it by separating out the right tip of the pool. Another moment that would have been easy to ignore, but there's a magic in not ignoring the puddle. It does create a sense of things existing out of sight, a feeling of playing with the unseen that can be elating or terrifying. In Jurassic World, it's kind of both, isn't it? We are here to see it coming right at us, and we're constantly being hit with open jaws running out of the screen. What a perfect movie for 3D. 2015 is about the time when the truly great 3D conversions started to be born, perhaps peaking at around 2020. Unfortunately, this level of attention and quality really did not become standard, not even among the Jurassic World series. Curiously, this movie has something in common with my previous review, Ghost Dimension, in that the climactic events of both movies take place on December 18th. Maybe ghosts are the spirit of the dead dinosaurs. That's why they can't be reasoned with. Story-wise, so far as I could tell, everyone here is a reptile. One point that the stereo helps drive home early in the movie is all characters, keep a constant and enormous amount of distance from each other. Even at the start, we see the kids live in a snowy state, being sent as far away from their parents as possible into the tropics for Christmas. And insignificant spoiler, we later learn that the parents are planning a divorce. In this movie, they are never cared for out of love, but out of duty, and an inconvenient one at that. There really isn't a love interest between characters so much as a utility interest. They come together because it's obvious the Chris Pratt guy is the best man for the job. Romantic affection is twice depicted as one-sided and frankly imaginary. Early in the movie, we have sort of his goofy nose-poking training of the mini dinosaurs, explaining he's trained them to treat him as the alpha. And that's really where the movie goes. Everyone sort of assembles into his pack for self-survival. And it struck me as ironic that the dinosaurs are often used as carrots to get kids interested in science, because here, ambition in science is treated with contempt. Perhaps most illustrated with the boss's moment of ill-advised heroism depicting imagined abilities outstripping reality. Also, we get some sort of military contractor depicted as a fool for another ambitious idea. And what is the moral here? Do not test your limits. Ambition is death. Love is an illusion. Fall in line. Stay in your pack. Jurassic Marxism. Now, it's a fun movie, but as I've said before, on a few occasions, a great movie can be made from any kind of worldview, and enjoyment is a terrible test for principles.